One. Hey, welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart. Very excited to be back with a very good friend of mine, somebody who has proven to be not only a very productive, high-producing real estate agent for years and years, but also somebody who's now become an influencer on a topic around database. And that's going to be our topic today, is how to, when a recession or a downturn or even an adjustment is on the horizon, how do you recession-proof your business? So before we get into that and me fully introduce today's guest, let me remind you the purpose of this show and really my mission is to wake you up to the potential that's inside of you and help you then live and help you to live in pursuit of that potential. That's what the mission of the Think Bigger Real Estate Show is all about. And Nick Krautter, a very good friend of mine. Nick, thanks for coming on the show today. Excited to have you here.
Thanks, man. Always great talking with you.
Yeah, likewise. So for those that don't know Nick, Nick, you started your real estate career when? What year was it?
I started in 2006, right before the big crash. I started actually April of 2006. I was 27 years old and, just kind of jumped in and learned to work with buyers when it was multiple offers on everything. And as soon as I started getting listings, that's when the market started going down. So in a way, I feel grateful that I kind of cut my teeth in hard times and at a time too when I had the bandwidth to work 14-hour days and didn't have a ton of overhead. That definitely set me up for the success I've had since then.
Yeah, love it, man. And then fast forward from that point, built a team, built a brokerage, and wrote a best-selling book, The Golden Handoff, which for those that don't know, teaches real estate agents how to buy and sell another real estate agent's business or their own business. So that's been quite the journey as well. I know you're getting ready to release a workbook that not only teaches agents what to do, but very specifically how to do it, a hands-on manual. I've been through it. I love it. I think that's what agents need. I think there is a whole group of agents that probably would have retired sometime after 2008 that have not yet because they experienced a significant downturn in their net worth. Yeah. And now they're looking at potentially some sort of even pause in the market, even some sort of hesitation. They're going to be like, Mamba out, right? I'm out. Like, I don't want to go through this again. And they're going to essentially kind of just walk away from their database, correct?
Yeah. I mean, 99% of realtors, when they retire, they just ride off into the sunset. And what we're going to talk about today is just when you are in real estate, you build relationships and you build trust with just a ton of people. And the best realtors with the biggest businesses, typically, if you're repeat and referral based, it's because you know a lot of people, you stay engaged, and when they have a question or need, that they trust you to help them more than anyone else. I mean, in Portland, Oregon, where we are, there's 8,500 realtors in any market. A small portion of those do most of the business. And what we're going to talk about today is how to be one of those people and how to build a database so that you can get through that recession. And the book, The Golden Handoff, never would have been written if there wasn't the Great Recession, because that happened because people were getting out of the real estate business when it crashed last time. So a lot of realtors decided to exit the business because it got so much harder to do the work. And it wasn't like, it wasn't fun conversations. You had to have hard conversations every single day. And for a lot of people, it was just the emotional toll of that was too much. And the book, The Golden Handoff, happened because of people that were exiting the business. And I approached them and said, hey, you have a database, you have all these people that know and trust you. And basically, I would love to help them since you're not going to anymore. And I would love for you to endorse them to work with me. And that's basically that's the seed of that book. The book goes into a lot more depth. And then the workbook you mentioned, I'm really excited to be doing this now a couple years after the book's come out. It's really meant to, like, step by step with checklists, worksheets, interview questions, help the retiring agent and the adopting agent through the whole process.
Powerful, man. I think that's really where people are needing to have leadership. It's not just the information anymore. It's really a how-to. Here, let me take you by the hand and walk you through how to do this. So I love the fact that you've taken a concept that is so highly relevant, that's so highly needed in the real estate space, and now you're adding additional layers of help to offer to people to, again, help those that want to exit the business and get something for all their years of work, actually be able to do that, and then have these agents that are maybe newer in the business that would be, like, not even newer, just maybe experienced in the business, to be able to say, I'm going to adopt that book of business. I'm going to take on that database and treat them like you have treated them, and therefore projecting, putting their career on a path that they never would have been able to recreate in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
It's a powerful concept. So thank you for spending the time to do that. I know that's kind of a labor of love, if you will, for the industry and the agents that you see wanting to retire and those that want to grow quickly. So kudos to you for doing that. It's awesome stuff. And obviously in that process, you became highly proficient at helping, like, really identifying what matters in a database, right? Like what matters in relationships. Because again, you've purchased a number of books of business yourself. You've helped other people purchase books of business, and you know, like, what matters when it comes down, when you sit down at the table to evaluate somebody's business, you know what information matters, and the stuff that when it's not there, it's really detrimental to being able to not only have a relationship with that direct agent, but especially with when you're when you're handing off that book of business to somebody else. What are a few of those things, Nick, that you would say absolutely need to be in somebody's, not just their database, but in a relationship for a client to be able to really have a strong business?
I think the core most important thing is how many people know you and trust you. And so there's two components to that. The first one is, what is your competence and what is your character? And I would say your character just is what it is. Do you do the right thing? Do you do what you say you're going to do? A competence is understanding the market, understanding the process, and being able to help advise clients in a good market, and I would say good or bad. I'd say like a market that's going up, or a market that's going down, or a market that's flat. How to succeed in that market, whether you're buying or selling, and that's our job. I think a lot of realtors internalize. They take credit when the market goes up, and they take responsibility when it goes down, and both of those are wrong. We don't affect the market in a macro sense. We certainly can affect the transaction. We can affect each client's success. So I'd say, again, your character and your competence is going to determine how many people know you that trust you. And then the other component that's so critical is, are you maintaining the relationships you have? So are you transactional? Do you do a good job helping people buy and sell? And then you are focused on the next deal, the next deal, the next deal? Or do you take time just to stay connected with the people that you've worked with in the past? People that have had a question, the people that called about buying that decided to rent for a year or two until they got a promotion or until they finished, their college degrees or whatever it was, or picked a neighborhood they liked. And did you stay in touch with those people when there wasn't an immediate need? And it's not easy. There's no secret to it. It's one of those things that the investment of time in that, I think, is worth so much more than people give it credit for in the short term and the long term. We're currently calling through our database and all of our past clients, and someone I hadn't stayed in touch with very well, they have a need to sell a large apartment building, and he said, "Oh, it's really fortuitous that you called because we're ready to sell it, and since you're calling us, we want to hire you to do that." And I'm doing that presentation right after this podcast.
Yeah, if you had not been in contact with them, that might have gone to another agent, right? I think that's sometimes the benefit and can be the curse if you're, depending upon what side of the equation you fit on. If you're regularly in contact with your people, just because they used you last time doesn't mean they're going to use you again. I think sometimes I see agents taking that for granted of like, well, all these people, they're going to be my next clients. If you stay in contact with them, right? If you know, if you're the best person to properly advise them.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you did an amazing job, I mean, every client has a different perspective on what our value proposition is. And I would argue that when the market's really, really good, clients believe that the houses sell themselves. The buyers believe that you're just there to open doors and show them properties. And you have to prove to people that your value of what your experience and your competence and your character separates you from just an average experience or an average agent. And the only way to do that is to do great work with the client when you work with them. But every day there's someone else that they know that knows a realtor that they think is great that they want to refer. And we had it happen to us at the beginning of the year where a client I had helped buy their house reached out about selling and buying, and they ended up getting referrals from all their friends at work to another agent who I know and I very much respect, and they decided to go with the other agent, and we lost the deal. And we weren't being casual about it. We were trying to do a great job. But even then, you have to understand that people have networks, and they are going to, if most people are going to ask for a couple referrals. And so I always like to treat it as if every client, regardless of how strong a relationship is, regardless of how many deals we've done, they have other options, and I don't want to take it for granted that they work with us. I want to treat it like I'm trying to win their business every time. And I think that if you take that approach, you're going to have just a significantly higher success rate, and the chance of someone going with someone else will be lower. I would say outside of like the highest trust situations, which I would say 5 to 10 people in your database would be at that level, maybe. You have to treat it like every time you have an opportunity, you still need to work to win the deal. And I think you'll end up with much better results than if you don't do that.
Nick, you mentioned this concept of being more of an advisor. I totally agree with you that real estate agents that are simply seen as, and again, whether they only do this or whether it's just perceived that they only do this, like you said, of market and sell a home, open doors, unless they move into the role of being a highly valued advisor, I think your future is in trouble. And you talk about this, right? That it's really being that advisor to the clients, being a consultant, being somebody who can get them a better return than with any other agent. What are some of the questions that you ask your clients to get some of that data that would allow you to best serve them as an advisor?
I think the really critical thing is to have communication and talk to your clients when they don't need you for a transaction. So one of the highest compliments I've been paid by some of our best clients is they really appreciate that I call them and give them an update on the market and ask if they need anything, even when we're not doing a deal and they don't need something immediately. And you always have the opportunity to get a referral at that point for something more immediate, but understanding your client's life plan with real estate and how real estate fits in that, I think is really critical. And like your show about thinking bigger, right? A lot of people look at real estate and they go, oh, I have my house and I love it. We're going to raise our family here. We're in a great school district. We love our neighbors. We don't want to move. And that's awesome. That means you did a great job and you helped that person find a really great place for them and their family. Now, when people talk about investing, and right now this is a huge topic because we're going through a big downturn in the stock market. The coronavirus is a big deal right now, and it is affecting the world economy, and we don't really know what's going to happen. But what are they talking about? They're talking about stocks and bonds, and that's it. And real estate is one of the best investment vehicles for people long term, because not only do you own an asset that over time is proven to go up, it's not a guarantee, but chances are there's more people being born every day than we're building houses and apartments for, which means that it's likely going to continue to go up in value. And as it goes up in value, you can rent it and create income and positive cash flow. So it's something where for a lot of stocks, there's no dividend. So unless the stock goes up, you don't make any money. Whereas real estate, you could literally buy an apartment building tomorrow for $1 million and sell it 20 years from now for $1 million, and you still have a positive return because you've collected rent that whole time. What's likely going to happen is that it's going to double in value in 20 years. So your asset will double in value, and you've also had the appreciation. So your rate of return is really, really strong. The other thing I really like about real estate as an investment vehicle is that when the market goes down and when those assets do lose value, because that does happen during cycles, as long as you're cash flow positive and you're taking into account all your expenses, you can weather any storm. You're never put in a position where you have to sell. And typically what happens during a downturn, guess what? Interest rates go down. Interest rates right now are crashing. So all these people that have these huge real estate portfolios, or even just a couple, like your house and maybe a duplex or a rental house, even if it's a very small portfolio and you're just getting started, everyone is going to have this amazing opportunity right now, and I believe for the next couple of months, to refinance, lower their cost to hold, which increases your cash flow and increases your return. And there aren't a lot of other asset classes where you get to do that. And so I think asking your clients if real estate is a part of their investment strategy is really critical, because most people I know that are very wealthy, whether they are real estate investors or developers or stockbrokers or financial planners, whatever industry they're in, a lot of the people I know that have built really large wealth have done it through real estate, because you can leverage it to get in, you can weather storms if you buy it correctly, and then you can take advantage of different cycles to either buy more properties or refinance the ones you have, and then take advantage of up markets and sell and trade into other things. So there really aren't a lot of asset classes like that have the unique benefits. And we could go on for an hour about the other benefits, like the tax benefits, the leverage benefits. There's so many other things with real estate that you don't get in stocks and bonds, and you have so much more control over it because you can be active in managing it. You can be active in the maintenance and care of it. And so it's an incredible vehicle. So if you're not having conversations with your clients that they bought their family home, their forever home, they're very happy, they don't need to buy or sell anything, maybe they don't really refer people, that's just not in their DNA. Those people should and probably will be thinking about investing in real estate. And if you don't understand how to work in investment real estate, you're missing a huge opportunity. I would encourage every agent, even if you came into this business thinking that you're going to be just a residential owner user agent, to learn about investment real estate, learn about the basics. We have a great investing guide on our website, cityandstatere.com/invest for people to download for free to learn about the basics of investing.
And I love your answer to my question, right? Which is like, what's the information you need to be gathering from your clients? And you talked about it like a life plan. And then obviously you inserted into that of like, in everybody's life plan, if real estate's not a part of it, then it's your duty as a real estate professional to be able to help them see how much faster they could get to where they want to go by investing in real estate, right? I mean, I think sometimes it's assumed that there's only so much business out there and that everybody's competing for it. And what I hear you saying, Nick, is that there's a lot of business that you can create because there's misinformation about where the best place is to put your money. And a lot of times people don't see real estate as maybe the best place to put their money. But again, having the insider information that you as agents have and being able to properly put people inside of long-term investment vehicles that will produce wealth, produce tax benefits, all kinds of benefits, right? Is that by understanding that knowledge, and I love the fact that you have a resource for agents to go look at, because that's the stuff when you ask them about their life plan, you can say, look, I've got some ideas for you. Can we grab lunch or have coffee? Let's talk about some ways that I believe I can help you get there faster. And it really changes. When an agent comes in and has that conversation with somebody, it's no longer like, hey, can I come look at listing your home? Can I come look at, let's talk about like helping you buy your next home. Like that conversation is becoming commoditized. It's highly competitive. It's very common. And when you're in that environment, the only way that people can compete is to start to lower their commissions. And I don't think that's the way that the industry should go. Although there are a number of big tech portals and there's a number of just your typical standard real estate agents that think that that's the way they have to play. And what I hear you saying is that rather than lowering your price, increase your value, become more of a wealth advisor for somebody's real estate portfolio, help them grow wealth through real estate. And all of a sudden, you're not just an agent that's like everybody else. You're actually helping them get to where they want to go faster and better.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is, if your only job is to help someone buy or sell something, and the client's belief is that the realtor doesn't provide an enormous amount of value. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, on average, a lot of realtors don't provide a lot of value. And the public perception is such that we don't provide a lot of value. Now, the best of the best provide a ton of value and mm-hmm. can create life-changing results for their clients. Mm-hmm. But imagine it like this. So if you believe that real estate's important and you have questions about where to invest or where to buy a home or different neighborhoods and the nuances of real estate where you need an experienced professional, someone can call me and my team and say, they can ask a million questions. We can talk about market trends. We can talk about neighborhoods. We can talk about different developments, down to the level of restaurants and apartment buildings and commercial development and trends with employment. There's no one, I don't think you could call a Zillow agent and say, hey, I'm curious about moving. Do you think I should do it now or should I wait? Those are conversations you want to be prepared to have. And it isn't always the same for everyone. Again, you can't, buying or selling, it's based on an individual's situation. So, are you building a portfolio or are you retired? The response of like what to do and how to invest at those stages is going to be different. is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell? Well, it depends. If you just moved to town and you might get a job transfer next year, I probably wouldn't tell you to buy a house. It doesn't make sense. You're better off renting until you're going to be somewhere for a couple of years at least, because even in the best of times, real estate doesn't move that fast in terms of its change in value. I think the stock market's lost 12% of its value this week so far. That doesn't happen with housing. And on the flip side, it also doesn't go up that fast. And so you have to have a longer term perspective, unless you're a house flipper, in which case you're trying to get in and out as fast as possible. Most people in real estate are looking at it as a long-term hold, as a cash flow hold, as again, a part of their portfolio. I think that there's definitely a place for insurance vehicles, stocks, equities, bonds, all those other different ways you can invest. I'm not saying it should be all real estate. I think that you want to be diversified to take advantage of different markets.
Yeah, it really is, as you mentioned, a different conversation, a different value proposition. It moves you to an entirely different level in the client's eyes. I see big tech firms and portals really controlling the conversation right now, right? And giving the impression that it doesn't so much matter who the agent is. It's more about, is the technology that you're using superior? And if it is, then great, insert in agent A, B, C, D, or Z. That part, the person doesn't matter as much. I think that's the recipe. That's the path forward to becoming a low-paid, worker of technology in this industry. Whereas what you're saying is actually, it doesn't need to be that way. That actually the value in what you know about the local market, your ability to advise people when it comes to long-term real estate investments, all of that becomes a highly valuable conversation to the client, because it can move the net worth of that client hundreds of thousands, if not more, dollars in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like what you charge is irrelevant because you're offering something else. And I think anybody right now that's a real estate agent that has experienced margin compression, right? Whether you're paying more dollars to get leads. In fact, I sat with an agent just yesterday, and she explained to me how she gets a lot of relo business. And I said, what do you pay for relo business? And she said, I said, is it like about 35%? Because that's what I'd been accustomed to hearing. She said, no, I take home about 25%. And I was like, you pay like 75% when all is said and done to capture a lead? And she was like, yep. And I was like, wow. It baffled me that people are working so hard for such little margin because they aren't able to. The only reason she's doing that is because she's not able to go get the lead herself. And so my whole conversation with her went around like, how do we go get the lead yourself? And you will need to sell 75% less homes and earn the same amount of money. Like it's crazy to me. And so I think what you're teaching, Nick, and what every agent that I hope is hearing this, is that simply by implementing the kind of conversations that you're having with your clients, your value goes up, and you don't have to either A, pay so much for the leads, or B, lower your commission when you're in front of a client in order to get that business. You can simply say, yes, I can market and sell your home. And after we do that, I want to have a conversation of what we do with that money, or how we help you buy your next property to where you can start building long-term wealth. Just simply that conversation, coupled with some of the data that you have in your report, is going to help people be like, man, yeah, we really want our house sold. We thought we wanted it sold for less, but what I really want is this agent teaching me how to build wealth through real estate. All of a sudden now you've separated yourself, and they can't look at the price tag anymore because it's not the same thing. People are upset and not happy paying more for the same thing, but they're okay paying for more for like something that's better and superior and a totally different offer.
Well, I'd say this, we're not yet in another correction cycle in real estate. And I honestly don't, despite everything in the stock market, I just don't see that happening in real estate this year. I kind of thought this year we'd flatten out, but we still have an inventory problem, and now interest rates are so low, and I think they're going lower. I would call 3% no points on a 30-year fix this year, maybe in the next couple of months. I can't see that not happening with what's going on in the global markets. And that creates an insane opportunity to be a buyer in real estate. And I would say this, to kind of boil down everything we're talking about, to just two ideas. your value is directly related to the value of the conversations and the questions you're asking. So number one, you have to be in the conversation, which means you have to either have a network of people that you meet with regularly, or you have to be intentional about calling the people in your database once, twice, 3 times a year. I would say that depends on how many people you have. Our database has 18,000 people in it. I can't call them once a month, and so we have to be intentional about how many people we talk to and how we prioritize that. So one is, you need to be in conversation with your people, and you need to be in conversation in the market with people in general. So start with your own clients and then expand your network to add people to it. But you have to be in conversation every day. The second part is, if you are doing that, if you are in conversation with people every day in your database and in the market, the next step that determines how successful you are from those conversations is the value of your questions determines your value to the client, period. And it determines the value of your life experience. The questions you ask yourself, the questions you ask your peers, the questions you ask your partners in business and in life, and husbands and wives, questions you ask your children. I can't overstate how important that is in terms of affecting the quality of your today and your future. And asking those questions and trying to understand someone's core motivation and what their real dreams and goals are, not what they say they are. Like, I want to retire one day. Well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean retire. It means they want to play golf. It means they want to be involved in philanthropy. It means that they want to travel the world. So how do we get to that sooner? Why do we need to wait to get to that? Is there a way to get to that sooner? Is there a way to get to that right now? I ask my clients that all the time. What is your real goal in selling this property? What's your real goal in buying this property? And it's never to own real estate. It's never to build a portfolio. It's for something else. I want to have a way to put my kids through school when they're ready. And I have no idea how much college is going to cost in 2030, or 2040. But I know if I buy this duplex, it's going to be worth more in 2040. I'll have this income from it for this whole time. We have so many clients that made that decision 20 years ago, and now the income from these properties is paying for their kids, as opposed to their kids going $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 into debt. Imagine what that changes. So it isn't about building a portfolio. It's about building support. It's about building security. It's about building a better life and having more freedom. And we can absolutely affect that. But again, are you in the conversation? Are you asking great questions? Those two things alone, it doesn't matter what the market does. If you are there for your people in that way, at that level, you will always be in demand.
I think that the days of being able to secure your client base by dropping off homemade jam, this is no dig on anybody or any specific tactics, but that becomes very expensive jam if that's the only offering that you have. No, don't get me wrong. People want to work with people that they like. They want to work with people that are thoughtful. They want to work with people with whom they have a relationship. And I think if jam is your jam, then keep doing the jam. I'm not digging on that, but I'm also saying that you need to adopt what Nick is talking about here. It's got to be more than just the frilly stuff, right? It's got to be more than just the relationship stuff. It's got to be something that actually moves the needle for them when it comes to their wealth. Otherwise, I think people are not going to continue to overpay just because of relationships. Because again, the conversation is being controlled at a high level that the agent doesn't matter like it used to matter, and you need to defy that by bringing such value and proof, and then communicating and broadcasting that value to all your clients. Know that, no, I go with, for example, Nick, because this is the value that I get, and it's not just the jam, right?
Yeah, it's not. And I mean, again, the jam is a good way to stay in the conversation. I have a friend who they're working with a realtor they use because their realtor, she does pop buys, a couple times a year. So she's deep in relationship with people, and that does matter a lot. Again, being in the conversation, I don't care how good you are at your job. If you're not in conversation with people, they're going to forget you. They have other options.
Totally.
And they won't know your value. They'll forget it, or they will never have known it. So again, any way to stay in conversation that works for you, I think is great. Adding to that, knowing your market, asking great questions, being a part of someone's life plan, not just their transaction, will provide a ton of value and help you weather any storm.
That's the next level, right? Being relevant might be through the pop buys. Being valuable, that's where you've got to take it to the next level. Nick, will you tell us again really quick, and I'm actually going to put up here on the screen, what's the website where people can go get that investor report and be in contact even with you on how to add that additional value?
Yeah, so our website we I'm the CEO in Oregon and Washington of City and State Real Estate. Our website is cityandstatere.com. And if you go to cityandstatere.com/invest, you'll be able to download a PDF copy of our investing guide. And in Portland, we host probably every other month an investing class that goes over current market conditions in our market and different asset classes, and then goes over the basics of investing. So if you see that, there might still, we just finished a class just a couple of days ago. We might still have the invite for that up, but you can just download the PDF, and we'll update that as we have new classes scheduled if you happen to be in the Oregon and Southwest Washington market.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. I know we've got an audience outside of here, so maybe there's at some point some broadcasts that you could bring people in to teach and train them how to do this when they're outside of the Oregon and Washington market. I know you're expanding your reach both with the Golden Handoff as well as just with the impact that your brokerage is having to how others should be structuring their brokerage and the value proposition they should be bringing to the marketplace. So anyway, stay tuned. Just stay close to Nick. He's, again, an authority figure and influencer in our industry and for the good. He's somebody who you want to follow and imitate if you want to maintain being a well-paid real estate professional, being valuable to where your clients are happy to have you to be a well-paid professional because of the value that you bring. I think that's the key. So Nick, I want to thank you for your time today. Always so good to spend time with you. Let me finish with this question. You're a big thinker. That's why you're on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Tell me what's something that you do on a consistent basis to continue to expand your own possibilities?
I would just say stay curious. Like, always be curious about everything. Like, if you drive by a house that's vacant, ask the owner what's going on with it. If you see a plot of land that seems like it should be developed, find out who owns it, what their plans are. Be curious about what your client's life plan is. Be curious about what your team and your employees and your friends are doing in the business. If you see trends, like, go into it. There's opportunity in every market, and it's there for the people that are curious, that don't just go, oh, that's interesting that these brand new homes aren't selling. Call the builder. Maybe they've been trying to sell them themselves. Maybe they need an agent. There's an opportunity, again, in every market, in every place, in every city, if you're just curious and you take it one step further and take action on that. So that would be my last
Stay
word.
curious. Love it, man. Stay curious. All right, buddy. Thanks again so much. I want to remind everybody that my final request of you listening to this show, 3 simple words, and they are go think bigger. Thank you, Nick, so much for helping us do that today. And I'm sure we'll talk soon, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, man.
You bet.